This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. There is a belief that you can have whatever you want if you put your mind to it. Now, I'm sure you've heard that slogan, that phrase before, but there's some truth in it when you look at it through the lens of manifestation. Mm-hmm. What you think becomes your reality. Doesn't matter what it is. We're going to talk about that today. Some of the principles that lie within manifesting, why it works for some, why it doesn't for others. She is a transformational life coach and has a lot of insight on this today. Farrell Minaker joins us on the program. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me back.
This is one of my favorite things to talk about because there's a lot of positivity in it. You know, just thinking about what I want and how it could show up when done correctly. There's a lot of different things going on here. I'm not even sure of the starting point. Where do you think we should begin?
Well, I think it's definitely a question on a lot of people's minds. And I think maybe we should start with why it is that some people believe that it doesn't work. It might work for some people, but it doesn't work for me. I don't know how to do it. It's not real. A lot of that stuff comes up with clients. And the reason that it works really well for some people is because they know how to tap into it. They know kind of like the rules, right? They have processes that they can do. And for other people, they've never learned these processes or have these tools. They don't know how to do it. So they just think that, well, it must not be real because it's not working for me. So there must be, or maybe there's some big secret, but nobody wants to tell me what it is.
I'm right there with you. I'm a student of metaphysics, and this is something that's on my radar. Been manifesting things that I feel I deserve and want in my life. Hasn't shown up. However, I am going to say things that did show up, I believe I didn't fully manifest. I left some things out. And like, for example, perfect person showed up. Mm-hmm. Ooh, everything's great. It's all there. Left one little piece out of the total sum. And it was a big thing, basically emotionally available, that kind of thing. Everything else, woo, unbelievable. It worked. So that gets me to specifics, how specific you should be. And I just want to share how I know this really does work, because without knowing it, I manifested things I didn't want, and they showed up. So, just life change, things like that. That's how I know it works. I really do.
Absolutely. There's a lot to unpack there as well. And I like that you said sometimes you've manifested things that you didn't want to show up. And, you know, we've all done that. And here's the thing is, the more that you think about something, the more you're going to get that thing that you're thinking about. It doesn't matter if it's positive. It doesn't matter if it's negative. The universe, superconscious, God, source, whatever you want to call it, all same thing to me. It doesn't work on the basis of good or bad. It just says, yes, here you go. You keep thinking about this, so I'm going to give this to you. Now there are certain rules in place, and I do mean like laws of the universe, right? So, for instance, just because you maybe somebody cut you off in traffic and you're, damn guy, I hope you hit a pole or something. Okay, well, that's probably not going to manifest because you haven't really been thinking about it. I mean, there's all these things that we think about all the time, different types of things. But just because you think about it for one split second doesn't mean that it's going to happen. It's more when you're constantly thinking about it over and over and over again. And a lot of us do that, right?
I'm going to agree with you and then disagree.
Okay.
But it's all good. And yes, the person that cut you off in traffic, you're wishing like this negative manifestation on them. I'm thinking that's not going to work because it's not coming from a high vibrational space as in your heart. You just,
Mhm.
that's like a more of a karma thing. Like, I can't see that really working. On the flip side of that, the things that you just think of, I test manifesting all the time
Mhm.
when I'm going somewhere and I believe I'm manifesting a great parking space. And
Mhm.
I've done it over and over again, and I share it with everybody else. I'd have to say it's about 90% it happens. And I was even
Yep.
at a venue yesterday, and there was a line to the men's room, which is kind of odd. Usually it's the women's room, right? So I was like, all right, I'm waiting there, and I'm thinking about it. And as it's kind of wending its way in, and then now I'm in the bathroom, and there's one stall and a bunch of urinals, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't manifest that stall just because that's where I want to be. Privacy, whatever. I don't care either way. But all of a sudden, door swings open. It's my turn. Thank you. Coincidence? Yes, it could have been. The spaces in the crowded downtown areas that are there when I manifest them, I don't think that's a coincidence. And I always say, if somebody needs it more than me, let them have it. But, if you can give me a prime spot right now, thank you, universe. I'd appreciate that. So my point here is those are like on the fly manifestations, and I see them happening. And it's basically a test, and it seems to work.
And that's, I love that you do that. That's so much fun, and I think people should play around with that more so that they get used to seeing little things come up, even if it's manifesting a cup of coffee. It'd be really great if I got a free cup of coffee today, or something like that, and just play with it and test it, because I think people don't trust it enough. They don't trust themselves enough doing it.
Yep.
So yes, little things like that can come up very quickly, but it sounds like you also practice it a lot too. Uh, Um, when,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. But the big things haven't shown up yet.
right. So that can be because maybe again, like, so last time we were talking about a true choice, right? So maybe it's not quite a true choice that you're trying to manifest. And it could
Mm,
also be that there's other influences, so energetic blocks or limiting beliefs that you don't even realize that you have, and
yep.
that's why things aren't showing up for you. And there's lots of little things that you can do, like you can muscle test first of all to see if you're even in that right energy.
Hmm. Hmm. Never thought of that. Really never thought of that. And I've heard muscle testing before, messed around with it. There's different ways to do it. You can break the chain with true and
Yeah, or the
yeah,
chain,
that's kind of
yes,
what's yeah,
no.
exactly. You want to explain that?
Muscle testing.
Yeah.
Sure. So our bodies naturally react to negative and positive things. So when you're muscle testing, you need to ask binary questions, right? So yes or no. They have to have a yes or no answer at the end. So for when I'm first teaching people how to muscle test, the easiest one I find is to show them this with the ring, right?
Hmm.
So, sh- you know, super conscious, universe, whatever. Show me yes. Show me no. And then you can also, this is calibrating it as well, right? So that you are aware that yes, this for sure is real. So my name is Farrell. Yes. So it's strong, right? It's not breaking the chain. And then when you say something that's false, say my name is Bob, right? The chain breaks very easily because your body energetically knows what's true and what's not true. So it's really fun to play around with the muscle testing when you're not used to it. You can do it on your throat. You can do it yes, no. You can stand up and pretend that you're a tree if you want to, and your whole body can move when you're first getting used to muscle testing.
The sway test, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Hmm. Thank you for that because I totally forgot, and that will give you some indication if what you want and you're manifesting for is really what you want. Because I am thinking about the things. And by the way, I have a vision board right here.
Yep.
Um, but I'm going to be honest. I there's things up there, and do I really, really, really want them? I think I
Mhm.
do. Yeah, be nice to have that car. Do I really want it? Am I really feeling it? Do I that model? No, it's kind of cool, but it's not like I'm completely head over heels of that vehicle. And I'm just giving one example, just one.
Right.
Um, But I wonder if I'm fully invested, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you could very well be. And one of the reasons maybe it's not showing up for you is that there is some kind of energetic block in the way. So I think his name is Richard Bartlett, does a process called the 2 point process. So you're looking at 2 points in time, right? So what do I want? Where am I now? And you're looking at those 2 points, right? And when you're doing this, it's good to feel into, you feel into your heart. So into innocence, right? And then you can actually go into what's called the field or the superconscious. So it's the field of information, this energetic field that everybody has access to once they know how to access it. Anybody can access it, and it's really easy and it's really simple. So first of all, start with the 2 points. What do I want? Where am I now? Right. And then I take clients into that field and I can actually connect if they give me permission, because it's all about the permission as well, right? Like you can't just tap into somebody's energy if they don't want you to. You need to have permission given to you to get into their field so that you can see where they are and be on the same page, and then help them relieve that. And it could be, so think of it like these energetic fields that are around. I like to think of them as you're in the center of this, like it's a universe, right? So you're in the center of this universe, and then there's a field outside of your field, which may be family. There might be limiting beliefs and energy coming from them that's stopping you. Then there's another bigger field outside of that, and a bigger field. So you may not be able to tap into all of those yourself, but you are able to tap into your own energetics. And you are able to get information. It could be through images, through symbols. It could be through words that you get. It's a little different for everybody, but it's always the superconscious energetic field, like the field of information. It will never give you anything that isn't true. So when you're asking, and that's a really big part of it too, is asking questions. You need when you're trying to find the answer to something. So again, going back to what do I want? Where am I now? Right? And then you can start asking, okay, how do I get that? What do I need to do to get there? What do I need to shift or change in order to have this? Does that make sense?
Yes, but I've heard that you shouldn't get caught up in the minutia of how. Just it's what I want. This is it over here. How's it going to happen? I'm not going to worry about that. It's just going to show up. The universe takes care of all the other stuff that needs to get done before it shows up.
Yeah. So this would be more again, it's not sitting there trying to figure it out yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's more allowing that information to come to you through the field.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because we do like to make things up and make up excuses. Well, I don't have it because of this, or I don't have it because of that.
We're on the same page.
That's being on a totally different level. So that would be like on our self-conscious level, and then there's the unconscious level, and then up here is the superconscious level. So there are 3 different levels, and our self-conscious, we think we know because we're consciously in our own reality, right? But then there's the unconscious level, which is like computer programs running in the background, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As soon as we've decided this is what we want, it starts running in the background. There could be that limiting belief that's underlying that we're not aware of in our self-conscious reality. So that's where the programs are running. And then the superconscious is where all that information is, that field of information that you can tap into so that you can pull that down into the unconscious, reprogram that, and then you can start manifesting what you want easily without those energetic blocks and no longer have those attachments.
I love the analogy of the computer program running in the background because you could have, an app running in the background, and it's not working right anymore. Why? Because maybe the program's corrupt. Where am I going with that? That's the limiting belief that's getting in the
Yep.
way of your manifestation. I want to, if we could do this, we've been kind of talking a little negative, like this hasn't shown up, that hasn't shown up. I've done this and that. The stories of the stuff that we've both heard that did materialize through manifestation. So I know somebody who's a life coach and she
Mhm.
wanted a high-end Tesla, like,
Okay.
60 grand, something like that. This is a couple of years ago, and didn't have the, the resources to get it. And I believe she said it was 6 months she bought it cash. And it's just
Nice.
for manifesting. Then somebody else who kind of in the same role, and I trust, what she said. She was married, was in a great relationship. She described it as being abusive. He had passed away.
Hmm.
And yeah, as sad as that was, it was a little bit of a relief, that, this challenging relationship for her was over. She wrote down the perfect person that she wants,
Hmm.
put it under her bed. In 1 week, he showed up. They're happy. They're together. It's all good. I mean,
That's amazing.
that's the stuff I've heard, how this actually works. Anything that stands out for you in terms of manifesting?
Yeah. My truck for one. I'd always wanted another truck, a full size truck. And I just, for no other, I just really wanted to have this truck. There were no limiting beliefs or energetic blocks or anything in the way. It just felt really good. I just loved it. I would just love to have this. And it was maybe 2 months later that I had to go. I lease all my vehicles, right? So I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this truck. They're getting a lot more expensive. And I said, you know what? I know I'm just gonna focus on this. I just really want this. It's going to be a great payment. I want it to be black. I want it to be a crew cab. I want it to have a 5.3 liter engine, and I want it to have cruise control. Those were like my four main things that I wanted to have in my truck. And 2 months later, it just so happened that the exact truck that I wanted, oh, and I wanted it to be a short box. So because I don't like, I just like, it looks more proportional to me when you have a short box crew cab. So
That's what
it
you
just so
want.
happens right? I go into the dealership and they're like, yeah, so that truck that you're looking for, it just so happens that we accidentally ordered that truck for another customer and they wanted it to be a long box. So we've got the exact truck that you want with a short box, crew cab, 5.3 liter, cruise control, everything that you want. It just arrived like a couple of days ago.
Like, okay, so what are the chances of that? And I'm looking at, through the skeptic's eyes. That's the universe bringing it to you. There it is. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
what if you went to that dealership a week early? Wouldn't have been there. What if you went in a week after that? Somebody might have bought that truck, your truck.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
hmm, that's
I
cool.
do. I don't believe in coincidences. I really do think that everything happens for a reason, even if we don't necessarily understand why. It's all a learning experience.
Yeah, and part of it is learn to trust, learn to have faith in trust the process as well. This is the
Yes.
process what we're talking about. Um, Vision boards. So I referred to that before. It's up on the wall. It's been
Yep.
there, like maybe 2 months. I think maybe
Yep.
time to maybe change it up a little bit, but I don't know. What can you share?
Well, you can muscle test. You can muscle test it to see.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes we get too in our heads and we overthink things. I know that I do. And I used to be one of those people who tried to think up every kind of different scenario that I possibly could.
Yep.
And I didn't put my trust into the universe of, you know what? There's millions of possibilities. And me trying to figure out how everything is going to come to me is like me putting blinders on like I'm a horse, right? You have those blinders on and I can only see this. It can only show up this way instead of just going, but there's all this other energetic field around me that could have millions of other possibilities of how that's going to show up in my life. So trusting that process really is a huge thing. And if you don't trust yourself enough to trust the universe, muscle testing is a great way to do it. And the little tricks that you were talking about with, I'm just going to try to see if a free cup of coffee shows up, or if a great parking spot shows up, and start testing it. And if those, when those things come up, allow yourself to have more of that. And if they don't show up, then we need to go back to the basics and go, okay, what do I want? Where am I now? Let's figure out why it's not showing up. There might be some energetic blocks. Let's do a process, and you can do the 2 point process. So there's a lot more to the 2 point process as well, right? It has to do with like tension. So if you're feeling tension, and we want to just kind of like snap that tension, right? And I can help people do that, tapping into their fields. But for you, you can do the muscle testing and just start building up your trust, or other people can start building up their trust with themselves and their relationship with the universe, because the universe is still always going to give you everything you think about, regardless of whether it's good, bad, ugly. It's just going to show up because you keep thinking about it constantly.
And you got to be careful about what you're thinking about, and
You
uh,
do.
and also, okay, is it your subconscious that's working here with the universe? Like, for example, like you say, you ask for things, whether you want them or not, you're just thinking them. Um, it just shows up because your subconscious is making it happen. But I wonder how much comes into play with the universe and all of that.
Yeah, so that's why it's great for people to learn how to tap into that field, or have somebody help them tap into that field. Because so again, in those three different states, right? You have the self-conscious state, the waking state of, I think I want this. Okay, so then that starts getting programmed into your subconscious or your unconscious. And that program just starts running. With the superconscious up here, or the universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, when you tap into that, it opens your mind up to so many other possibilities and realities, um, choices that you can have that you didn't even know were possible on these other two levels, right? So when you learn how to tap into the superconscious, you're actually, when you tap into that energetic field, you can send new instructions down to the unconscious or the subconscious, so that you can reprogram that, and have, I guess in a way, have more control over what you're manifesting or what comes to you, because you have that awareness now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but how do you know you've tapped into the superconscious?
You'll feel it. You'll know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It sounds
It's
exciting. Like just
yeah, I mean, it's so much fun to play in the super conscious field and shift things. Your body just, when you all of a sudden, it's like a eureka moment, like aha, okay, now I get it. All this information is coming to you that you couldn't possibly have figured out on your own. When you sit in like the innocence, right? You allow that innocence in your heart, or like you're looking at things as if you were a child, and all this stuff starts coming to you, and you get symbols, and you may get images in your mind. You might get a word, or a phrase, or something that comes to you that lets you know, okay, yes, that makes so much sense to me. And that symbol over here might make no sense to anybody else, because it's only relating to you, right? So it's very much tailored to us, and you have to trust that what you are getting is true. Because, oh, sorry. All right. So everybody in the world, anything that's ever been invented, it's always came as an idea first, right? It's always been imagined first. Like Pablo Picasso says, everything you can imagine is real. And that is absolutely true. I mean, somebody had to imagine the locomotive before it was invented. Somebody had to imagine, the radio or the TV or a
oh
cell
yeah.
phone or cars before they were actually manifested, right? So you have to trust that process and be okay with the fact that yes, you have to make it up, and you have to trust that what you're making up is the truth, and that information, allow that to come to you.
But be careful because it'll show
Be careful
up.
what you wish for, because you might just get it.
Yes, yes. And we're out of time, but Tesla, I've started studying him. He's the king of manifestation, like
Oh, yeah.
hundreds of patents, electricity. Some say he discovered it through his
Mhm.
manifestation. However, he hooked up with Edison. They were going to partner up, and then they say that Edison stole it and then tossed him to the side. And he was a little obsessed, but his principle was 369. Everything had to be divisible by three. Just started learning a little bit more about him, but
The
that's
golden
how he did
ratio.
it. Yeah, 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 absolutely. How do we
Or
find you,
Fibonacci sequence.
Farrell,
Sorry.
to connect with you? This I've been trying to do this for years, so maybe it's time to call you. And the muscle thing, I've heard of it a million times, never connected it with manifestation. How do we find you?
Yeah, so you can send me an email at fjminakercoaching.com, or you can jump on my website at Farrell Minaker Coaching. Farrell Minakercoaching.com is the website. My email is fjminaker@gmail.com. There we go.
Gotcha, gotcha. And Farrell's two R's, two L's, Minaker, Minaker. Thank you for today. I will be muscle testing throughout this day, just because I forgot about it, and just want to get those baselines for the yes and the no's and everything. Thank you for today. I've really appreciated it.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on. I always have so much fun on your show. We always end up talking about some really fun stuff.
Same, same. And again, I've been doing this for a while. Never heard about the muscle testing, and it makes 1,000,000,000% sense how that can be effective. We'll catch up next time.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.